Good afternoon, everyone. Should do like a good morning Vietnam or something like that at some point. we need to like spice things up more than got all that pumped up guitar music, and then all of a sudden, hi.
I'm horrible with names. What was the CEO for Microsoft right after Gates?
Ballmer?
Paul Ballard, right?
Okay.
And there's that kind of infamous video of him on stage at some sort of Windows launch trying to hype everybody up.
Oh, throwing the chairs around. That was Ballmer.
Just going spastic. Yeah. So you can take on that.
I'll let you know. If I'm wrong, tell me down in the comments. I'm sure Mike's out there just going, these guys don't know anything. So, today we're kind of like in a bonus week of April, where usually I have my software roadmap built out for Humanized IT. Skip and I kind of hammer it out, and we just have to do them. This year we kind of got behind. So, what I wanted to do here is talk about how do you find a rhythm for your MSP or for your business. For instance, you're working every day, but what are you going to accomplish this year? What is your roadmap? So by April, we're going to have a new way of doing QBRs. By July, we're going to have a way to mass deploy firewalls. I don't know. Maybe you're going to have a new EDR or something that's going to solve a specific problem for you. But how do you determine what you should go after? Because if you don't, you're just going to start grabbing, and a lot of you have something called tool sprawl, and you know it. You have tool sprawl. And it's because you didn't have a plan, and now you're suffering the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
It's where does my money go every month? You look at your personal budget, and you always end, no matter how much money you make, you always end up with zero at the end.
Yeah.
You didn't have a plan.
Yeah, and that tool sprawl. So I'm leading to a point here. That can get really bad. I was visiting with one of our members yesterday, and they were talking about their RMM tool, and they had been going down the line with one product, and it was okay. I mean, it was doing what they needed to do, but they had a customer who wanted another tool, larger company, kind of big enough to steer the ship a little bit. So they implemented a second RMM tool just for this one company. But then other customers started seeing some different information every once in a while, and they're like, "Ooh, I want that." And so now, they're in this dilemma that they have two RMM tools. All the hassles you have with one now complicated with two, and they're having to change gears. And so my point here being, a member said, I really should have gotten more feedback from my team. And I think that was a really, really good point. I mean, as you go to do all these things with your clients and do these things inside your company, don't limit it to what you know. You can limit yourself. And sometimes, even if you are right, you're going to learn a few things if you talk it out. I've always heard and appreciated this aspect. You don't really understand anything until you can explain or teach it to someone else thoroughly. So you may have an idea of what you want to do, but until you can explain it to someone and they understand what you're trying to do, you might not have thought of everything. So start now, start early in your road mapping by bringing more people into the conversation.
So back when I was a security admin, CISO, whatever you want to call us, the big tool sprawl and the debate was, what's the best terminal emulator out there? And this is important because when you start working in Debian environments, when you start working with massive amounts of servers, and you need to move things around very quickly, and you're going to be logging into a lot of items, most people say, oh, just use PuTTY. Not for that level of administration. Right. I need to have 16 windows, and I need to be typing in 3 of them simultaneously. So there's a debate out there, right, that we would argue over who had the best one, what was the best emulator, and you had these big personal thoughts because they each had their pros. But the problem is, if each of your sysadmins was running a different emulator, they had a different process for getting something done, which caused problems. And this is tool sprawl, right? I was willing to pay out of my back pocket for my personal emulator. And so that's where we really started seeing this idea of tools. I just bought what solved a problem, and then I stuck with it. And now I've got all these dependencies on this particular product. But then the guy next to me has the same problem. He's got a different emulator that he loves with all of his personality in it. And it's got all of his scripts tied to it. And now he's tied to that. It's because we came from different environments, or we just happen to have different styles. And if we had bought the same emulator and trained ourselves on the same emulator, then we could cross share stuff. We could work together and come solutions. And a lot of MSPs are having this problem right now because you don't have like a roadmap of where you're going. What problems are you trying to solve as an MSP? What problems are you having right now that you need to solve in 3 months? So for instance, like we talk about the software roadmap for humanized IT. Skip is constantly coming up to me with ideas like, hey, we should do this in the software. We should do that in the software. And, it's my job.
I get lots of feedback. I can't help it.
Okay, Skip, I get that. That's important. But is it more important than this? Oh, you're right. And he creates a new Trello board request and throws it over to the side, and it goes on the back burner. But at least we're tracking what we're doing. But we start getting this big picture of where the software is going and all the features we want versus the ones that'll help people the most. So you hear things like, I really want to be able to do compliance in my QBRs. And so we solve that by saying, we're going to commit to working with Tim Golden at Compliance Scorecard. Big shout out to you, man. And helping MSPs solve the compliance as a service issue. Yeah. And we're going to integrate that. That's going to be an integration coming out next month. We had intended to do it in February, but as all things do, just multiply it by 3 and carry the 1.
Yeah.
That's how you figure out dev time. But then there's little things like polish, like, little tiny features. Skip was just saying, where you apply a persona. Everybody wants to click on the name of the persona, but we're like, no, you press the down arrows.
Yeah.
And Skip's like, no, I'm making an executive decision. We're going to change that code. Because it's just something that's nice to have, and it'll help people stop clicking in the wrong area, and Skip doesn't have to constantly remind them. It's not intuitive. So it's little things like that. And then you have to balance out what's going to benefit your client base. And in software, especially software as a service, as a vendor, you're constantly thinking, okay, what can I put in place that's going to sell more? If I spend $5,000 on this feature, will I get $50,000 back? And that's an interesting way to look at things. So in an MSP, if you implement, say, Fin Security Awareness, it's got a great podcast with Connor over there. Will you get the return on that you want? So for instance, if you're doing security awareness training internally, it's costing you a lot to hire employees to do that and drive around. Hey, let's have somebody just manage it for you. Are you going to save enough money and make more money by implementing that tool, and does it fit into your stack? When can you implement that? Give it a date. Say, I will have this done by July. I'm going to have a security awareness program done by July. What this does is allows you to say, look, employees, people working at my MSP, you have until July or till June to put together your best recommendations for security awareness. And then in June, we're going to evaluate, and we're going to make a decision, and we're going to move forward with this for 3 years. And that puts the brakes on people going into a conference, coming out with a tool and running with it in their own division.
Yep. Well, here's the hard part when you do things like that. And I know for me, analysis paralysis, is kind of like the ongoing chapter in my life. But you're going to have to come to a spot where you're going to look at things and go, I have to make a decision. And let me let you in on a little secret. There is no perfect roadmap. There is no perfect decision. It's all a series of trade-offs. Some things going to do things well, not so well. I know for me personally, at one point, we were running our ticketing system out of Microsoft Dynamics. Okay. For anybody that's been there, you feel the pain, right? And I hesitated for quite a while. Dynamics was not working for what we needed to do, but the amount of lifting that it was going to take for us to get and get onto another platform, in my opinion at the time, was too much. So I made a judgment call. Now, there was a point when we were like, okay, the pain is not worth the reward, and we shifted. Right. So it's going to come around, but you've got to make some decisions, and don't let yourself get trapped by this quest for the perfect decision. Which one is going to do exactly what I need? It doesn't exist. I'll just give you that answer now. You can move on. And there's 11 months back in your year. All right.
I think I've heard the saying, what do you wish you would have started a year ago? Is a great way to start thinking about, how do I plan today? If you had started implementing this thing a year ago, what would it be? Now, I know everybody's going to say, oh, I wish I would have implemented Humanize IT a year ago. Anyways, but that's okay. I get it. Yeah. The idea here is that you want to think like, okay, if I start today, I can thank myself in a year. So when we talk about our upcoming integrations that we're trying to decide between, we try to decide between, should we integrate with Ninja? Is there any reason to integrate with Ninja? What data can our MSPs present to clients, and how can that help provide value there? What about Enable? What about allowing you to integrate with HubSpot? These are things we have to balance out and decide, is this going to help people do their jobs better? Are they going to, and we always have the overarching, we are a presentation software. We are helping you talk to your clients. Does this feature request, does this improvement to our organization help our MSPs talk to their clients in a better way? If the answer is no, then we'd say, sorry, we don't do that. So people ask, well, you need to look up warranties. Like, sorry, we don't do that. We're not an asset management software. Some fantastic ones out there. It's just not what we do. And so what we need to do is, as an MSP, is you need to think, what do your clients need? Where are their gaps? And what aren't you providing? And so it might be something like your clients really could use a Google Classroom administrator. Okay, I'm going to hire a Google Classroom administrator in November. That means I need to start the hiring process in October or August. What you need to do then, this gives me a little side glance there. Or I need to think about outsourcing that. Do I want to outsource it? So now I need to think about, do I want to outsource or hire? So now I got to think about that in July. So this is a long process. And if you decide that I need to hire somebody by November, you've already made a decision in your head. I'm not going to outsource it. I'm going to hire it. You are then going to get to November and you're just going to hire. Was that the right decision? So can you break it up in a little bit? Like, what are you actually trying to do? I'm trying to get support for my educational clients so they have a Google Classroom administrator or trainer or teacher or something that's going to help them. And I know I have 5 schools committed who will pay me for like $1,200 a month for this particular administrator to be, at their seat. So that way you can line those up in April. And so this way you can deliberately move forward when you know you have a deadline in front of you. When I know that I've got IT Nation Connect in November, I know that I want to have my invent process done, which was 2022, or I wanted to have some cool new features. I think ticketing was this year. I can't remember what we released in November this year, and have something ready for the IT Nation people, for the ConnectWise people. For Build It, we made sure that we had our Halo integration really going well. And I've got some other things that we want to be able to do. We want to synchronize opportunities in a better way, because now that ConnectWise has upgraded their ability to process opportunities, we think that now we might finally be able to do some of the higher end stuff that we do in our tool that ConnectWise does not do very well. But these are things we have to line up. We have to think about these things years in advance sometimes. Sometimes it only needs a month in advance. But your MSP, where are your gaps? What do you wish you were doing today? Or what do you wish you would have started a year ago? So you can start thinking about that and mapping it out. And it doesn't have to be some expensive, really fancy Gantt chart. You can put a sticky note on your wall, or use Trello, or use a whiteboard and write down, I would like to have somebody do security for me because I know I can make $50,000 on this.
Well, and keep an eye on what it is you're actually trying to accomplish. again, me being very technical, I'm looking at our platform. I use our platform to engage with our members. It's a great tool for that. And so I'm using all the time, but we also use HubSpot. And so I'm seeing some things like, my first thought is, oh, we need to do the HubSpot integration, right? Some of our members have asked for that. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's cool because it'd benefit me as well. But when I got to looking at it, what I really wanted was quicker access to the data. That was my big goal, was quick access to the data. And so I got to look at that and realize, well, it's not an integration. It doesn't solve all my problems. It's not the perfect fit, but I can bring in HubSpot to our platform with an iframe grab and a content widget. And now I have my big goal met, quick access to the data. No, it's not perfect, but it provided a quick win for me at zero cost. And now I can move along. Now, at some point, I'm going to have a more defined set of needs, and I'm going to say, hey, we're going to have to, kick off the official process and do a HubSpot integration. Okay. We'll evaluate that when it comes around. But if you stay focused on what it is you're actually trying to accomplish, then you may surprise yourselves in finding either tools or features that you didn't really know you needed or you weren't appreciating in the big stack. I've seen way too many evaluation matrices out there. All right. Yeah. And they're really cool. All right. I like that. And they're going through and listing all the features. And I've seen people assigning points to it and all. And so they can rank it all out. And, we're going to pick this product because it scored a 98 in our matrix. Okay. It scored a 98. What was it didn't do? Well, it's just one little thing, and somebody comes back and go, well, that was the whole purpose of what we were trying to do. We wanted that one little thing. And you picked a product that doesn't do that. Right? So you need to keep an eye on the objective. What is it you're actually trying to accomplish? And then start planning out the details that will get you to where you want to go.
Yeah. And starting with that why, and we always talk about that. That's Simon Sinek fans out there, everywhere rejoice. But starting with that why is going to help you get that direction. It's also going to allow you to say no. So when Skip comes up to me with a crazy idea, like we should integrate this, I'm like, okay, how's that helping our goal this year of increasing sales?
Yeah.
Last year we were trying to increase presence. This year we're trying to increase sales. And, we also want to increase the user experience. So when I went on, I have two goals: increase sales, increase user experience as a company. When Skip comes to me and says, man, we really need to make it so that people can click on the name of the persona rather than just the arrow. That's an experience thing. Yep. Having our projects synchronized with opportunities and projects in Halo or ConnectWise smoother, that is an experience thing. But having a new integration with Compliance Scorecard is an additional product, and it's going to help reach a larger audience who are trying to solve compliance as a service for their clients, which is a huge issue these days. So that's going to help grow sales and give a better user experience.
Yeah.
So these are how we line things up. But then I'm also able to say no to things like, hey, let's do warranty lookups. Like, does that fit into what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
Yes. In that it'll probably help us get a few more clients, but it's not part of our overarching strategy of the user, the client experience being enhanced.
Well, importantly there, Adam, it's not our focus. All right. We understand warranties, we're competent there, but that's not our specialty. That's not our objective that we're really trying to work on. And that process is probably better served by companies who have a focus on that. And so they can do really, really well. When we take on those things, they're kind of outside of our core competencies. Overall, that's going to distract us. That's going to dilute our skill set and bring us down a little bit. So sometimes there is a really valuable moment of saying, hey, I understand that's important, but that's not what we do. And I'm going to find another tool. We're going to go out and do something else. Again, experience wise, we had some clients that were using Microsoft Dynamics in a variety of ways. We were experienced on it because we use it internally. So yes, we could do the installs and, set up the servers, and we could do some Microsoft stuff in Dynamics there. But, it just wasn't our strong suit. So what did we do? We partnered with another MSP who that was their specialty. I mean, they were
Yep.
on point for that. And so we provided all the other traditional stuff, and they came in with the special dynamic support. It was great. It was a win for everybody. The client had a great experience and was happy with both customers doing the best jobs in their lane, so to speak. So, stay in your lane kind of thing.
Yeah. So again, like what the wrap up to this is, the way we run Humanized IT and why our software feels so nice is because we stay focused. We could do 100 different things.
Yeah.
And it also allows us to think of outside the box. Like if we don't do warranties, what actually are people trying to do? Well, they want to know the age of the PC. Well, yeah, sometimes you do want to know, is it under warranty? But that's just from a policy standpoint. But like, what's the age of the PC so I know if I need to replace it? I'm going to replace it at 4 years no matter what.
Right.
Or I'm going to replace this this server at 3 years no matter what. Whatever it is, whatever your best practices are, you just want to be able to apply them, and you inherited this client. You have no idea what the age is. And the warranties are a really great way to tell that. Well, when we start talking to MSPs about that, what you actually just want to know the age of the PC, we might just be able to look that up for you. Because that's just looking up the processor. Now that fits into what we're trying to do, enhance the user experience. And part of one of our solutions for that is enhancing the budgeting experience. And knowing the age of a PC helps us there. Okay, that's a feature I can get on board with because now I can design better budgets because I know the age of the PC, and we know we can say the asset is fully depreciated, and it's a really easy decision for the client. There's no need to explain warranties. There's no need to explain highly technical things. It's a depreciated asset.
Yep.
We got to get rid of it. Otherwise, we just don't support it. And so that becomes simple. And so we able to find solutions outside the box. So you as an MSP need to figure out, what are you trying to accomplish this year? That way you can say yes to the right tools and no to the wrong ones. They might be a great idea, but they're not accomplishing what you want them to. So they don't fit into your MSP. Right. You might even say the same thing with clients. I want more dentist offices. I don't think any of you ever said that. But anyways, I want more dentist office. So you see somebody come in and say, I really want you to help us with our flower shop. You're like, oh, that's good money. And then you think, no, because we're trying to focus on dental offices.
Yep.
And if I take on that flower shop, that's one less dentist office I can take on.
Yep.
So be thinking about what your why is. Where are you going and what do you want to accomplish over this year, and hit those goals. That way you can say no to the wrong things and yes to the right things.
Yeah, we've mentioned a few times Simon Sinek's book, Why.
Start with why.
It is a great read. If you haven't, you've probably heard of it. It is, especially if you're responsible for setting direction in your organization, whether it's a department or the whole company, or product delivery. That is a great, and it's an easy, quick read. I mean, it's
the reason why it comes up so often. It is a great
it hits
read.
the nail on the head about how you can make these decisions, and it can be very in line. So I'd encourage you to read that one.
If you're not a trend follower, you're like, oh, that's too trendy for me. I don't want to read any cynic stuff. Then fine, go back to the 1984, The Goal.
Yeah,
that is probably the origin of all this lean manufacturing. Understand your process and why you're doing things. Everything kind of spun off of that book. That was the beginning. So if you want to be like, a little bit more original, read The Goal. That is a Socratic tale of somebody running a manufacturing plant that is failing and how they got it to turn around. I think they also wrote a book called Rocket Fuel, which is about an IT company.
Yeah.
One of those Gary Wickman's, I think it's Wickman, who wrote all the EOS books, is about an IT company that they're turning around. It has a lot of problems, and how they focus on a goal and move the company forward.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, this is a great conversation today. Think about your big picture at least once. Think it through. Where are you going in 2024? At this point next year, where do you want to be? Put it in a calendar entry for 2025, March 28th, and say, are we here?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that that's going to pop up on your calendar, remind you, did you accomplish this by this time next year? Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on our podcast later. Or for all of you who want to attend, the Bandwidths and Backups is tomorrow. Highly recommend you check that out. You can possibly win a Lego set. I should probably put that in the chat here. Let me see here. How do I do chats? Oh, comments. I see Mike's commented. He's
in there.
Yeah,
So,
Peanut Gallery is really quiet today. No one wants to hear about road mapping.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I put it in the comments. Go ahead and check it out. It's going to be a great, fun event for everyone. And it's an interesting way to run tabletops at your company as well. Try to get this as something that might be a regular deal, where we actually publish like little white papers between us and Ninja that say, here's how you run a tabletop. Here's how you run a scenario for your team. Just do it over a couple of beers on a Friday.
this is going to be an interesting exercise. I think it's a little different, and it's one that I think your team can get involved with. It'll certainly be easy to do, and I think very, very enlightening.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm Adam the Graybeard, the old hat IT guy who has no relevant skills anymore.
There we go.
All right. We'll see you guys all tomorrow, or we'll listen to you on the podcast. You can listen to us on the podcast on Mondays. Thank you.
Yeah.